everybody. Welcome. It's Thursday. It's a random Thursday, December the 13th. I've been doing some flight simming. I've done a handful of videos for flight sims before on the YubTubs, and occasionally on some of our marathon charity live streams, we've ripped out the flight sims as well. But this is sort of the first just live stream that I did just for that. No wine and beer, just oh, you bring it down. A kiss for luck. If you're bringing drinks, I think a beer would go great with flying an airplane. And I believe A Kiss for Luck will be joining me on stream. She recently flew in on this exact flight that I'm going to be doing here. Although she flew in at night, we're going to do a daytime flight. But the exact same flight that we're doing today is the one that she just flew in on 2 days ago, and is the one that I fly in on basically every time I return home from a trip. We're going to fly from Toronto's Pearson International Airport to Sudbury's Regional Airport on a Bombardier Dash 8. We will be flying on the Dash 8 Q400, which normally we fly on the Q200, which is minuscule. The 400 at least, has more capacity. I think it can fit, depending on configuration, somewhere between 70 and 78 passengers, whereas the Q200 is just tiny little thing. But yeah, Quillatine, A Kiss for Luck, let's drunk please. 8 hours bottle to throttle, 12 hours for commercial. Oh yeah. No drinking before flight, but what could possibly go wrong? Let's talk about our flight today by bringing up this over here. So this is FlightAware. This is a great site to track all kinds of flights that you might do at any point. It can track live flights and things like this. What I did here is I pulled up an example of a flight that is this flight. I think they do 5 or 6 of these flights per day, and they just go bounce back and forth between Sudbury and Toronto here. So this is the Toronto to Sudbury leg over here. For some reason, on all the historical flights, the flight data always sort of like real time, or not real time because this is a historical one that we pre-recorded, but the sort of like actual telemetry for some reason always just dies out over here, and then it just gives you like the sort of filed flight plan for some reason. The green line, though, is the actual flight that they take. When you're watching it live, you do tend to get the live updates along the way. So this is just an example of one of them. I did a comparison. So the Jazz Air, which is a sort of subsidiary or whatever Air Canada, they've changed names about 30 different times. For a while, it was Air Canada Express and whatever, but now it's Air Canada Jazz or Jazz Air or whatever is the company that flies this flight using the Dash 8. The Dash 8. The Dash 8 is not a very it's not a modern plane. It's been around for a while. Yeah, you can see here it says the Dash 8-100. If it's a Dash 100, that would be especially poor. Dash 100 and Dash 200 are basically the same. The 200 just has updated engines. So yeah, these are not pleasant planes to fly in. We're going to be flying the 400 instead, which is going to be a bit more potent. But this is basically what we're going to do here. They just sort of fly back and forth, so you can get some specs and compare. They always fly this route, as far as I can tell, on the way to Sudbury. On the way to Toronto, they fly to IR-Kim, which is somewhere over here. We might be able to see it in flight vector. No, actually, I don't think they've got the marker there until we set it. But if you're flying from Sudbury, you would fly to about a marker here and then get in. And I hear A Kiss for Luck coming down the stairs. Oh, this is going to be so great. De Havilland makes nice planes. They do. That's the thing with these planes. Like, they're not terribly sexy, but what they have, they're really good for regional flights. They're turboprop planes, which are mega super good for shorter flights, because jet planes are really good flying fast and very high. Propeller planes are very good flying low in a thick air and sort of ascending and descending. And so a turboprop is sort of in between those two, and is good for regional flights where, you're having to ascend and descend quite a lot, and that's it. So the flight from sort of runway to runway is about 47 minutes. Oh my God, we got cookies and beer.
Well, you made them.
That's true. They are my homemade cookies from last night. Thank you very much. Oh, this is gonna help a lot with the flying.
Help with the flying.
Yeah, let's get this. I'm gonna move this over as much as I can. Where's the edge of the green screen? I can go quite far, actually.
There you go.
There we are.
Am I supposed to go, like, the exits are here,
yeah,
to the side, and they could be behind you. Buckle like this.
Mm-hmm.
And for you, sir. So our pilot is properly refreshed.
This is going to help, calm the jitters. I picked the wrong week to stop sniffing glue.
Oh, God.
Airplane movie? Great movie. One of the greatest movies.
That's one of the words for it.
Anyway, we'll move this over here.
Yes.
for now. We'll get the cookies out of the way. They're not the fresh baked cookies you can get on Lufthansa, where they cook them on the plane.
Oh, coming over from Germany a couple of days, you can smell this aroma of the cookie. They're baking fresh cookies for us. They come over with hot cookies. It was epic.
I love Lufthansa. It's my first flight.
So
I don't
right.
think I've ever had fresh cookies on them, though.
And more wine. So you get on the first thing they do, you reach cruising altitude, they bring you wine.
Yeah.
And some kind of snack. I don't remember what it was. And then you're sitting here, you've only got about half the glass done, and they're coming around with bottles going, would you like more? Top it up, fill it up. Then they go back 10 minutes later, top it up. Then they bring out lunch, and they bring you more wine. And then while you're eating, they come top it up. Then after that, they come with coffee and tea and brandy, or Kahlua or Bailey's or whatever. So I had brandy and coffee. Then they come with fresh baked cookies and more wine. And it's like, best airline ever.
Yeah, just keep people liquored up so they don't worry about the flight too much. It's nice.
It's like you're happy. Just I've got enough food for 2 days, and I'm a little tipsy, but it's a great flight. It's so good.
Rizrak, this is a Kiss for Luck. She's another YouTuber and streamer. I'm sure Deadmate will probably link to her channel. And she is my mother-in-law.
Yes.
And yeah, between her and Briarstone and myself, we do a lot of streaming and things in the household. Just nonstop.
And then poor Essentia just tries to make the house work, with all these geeky people in it.
So normally you'd be streaming today, but you're still recovering from your travel.
I do, and it would just be done now anyway.
That's
it would be over now
it's
anyway.
12 to 2 on Thursdays.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's perfect.
Yeah, the time is kind of mixing me up because I'm trying to keep the schedule same online. That means everything changes for me.
Because you just flew in from Scotland. You've been there for
Yeah.
about 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the timing's still really weird.
Yeah, it feels like really late at night. I woke up at 5 this morning and it jumped going, oh my God, I've slept half the day. And it's like, no, it's only 5 o'clock in the morning here. This is terrible. I can ask quote for the controller, or I can just sit here and drink my beer and mind my own business.
No, we need the co-pilot. What I want there, if we both had a copy of this game, we actually could play like pilot and co-pilot on our individual computers.
What is all this you've got?
These are all our these are all our charts for the airport. It's serious business here. So here's where we're gonna be. That's our plane. So for those of you who have not had the joy of flying this flight that we're gonna do in person, so this is all Terminal 1. And this little branch over here, these are the D gates where we go.
Yeah,
and then
this is.
right around here on the top floor, this is where you go to the Mill Street Brewery. So before the flight, Quill's getting nice and buzzed on some beer, maybe right now.
Mill Street Brewery. This is good.
It's 2 o'clock somewhere. And then typically, we come down here. These are the D gates. And these are the little bits where I think these are referred to as aprons. Are these aprons? There's some people in the chats who know approach plate's the proper term. Thank you. There's people in the chats who have done some flying. Knight used to have his thing as well. He's always around with the great terrible puns as well. You got to watch out for Knight. He's really bad.
Okay.
They're amazing.
Okay.
But yeah, right here, this the D11 gate. This is where it is. It's actually labeled as 111 for the actual apron or whatever itself.
That's the Air Canada flight?
Yeah, that's us. Here,
Can't we take Porter? Come on, seriously, we'll never get out of here in time.
Not out of this airport. Well, that's it. That's why we had to have a drink. We're being delayed. But I got the proper livery. Look, it's Air Canada Jazz Express. This is it.
The plane I came home on.
This is the actual plane you came on.
Which was late because Air Canada.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a break in here. It's break time, and we'll come back in an hour and a half when it's ready to fly.
And we won't tell you why.
No. No, we won't update the sign or anything. You're gonna have no idea when we actually take off.
That's awesome. We'll just tell you that the estimate is we will leave sometime today.
Maybe, unless it gets canceled. So I don't have any custom scenery or anything loaded. This is just the default X-Plane stuff. It does have a little Z fighting over there, but otherwise it's good. If I had World Traffic 3 or something, these airplanes would probably all be Air Canada Express instead of Air Dolomiti. We're going to find out these guys fly out of, I don't know, Norway or something. Oh, it's powered. It's a Lufthansa thing. Yeah, there you go. Let's just go into that plane instead. That's going to be much better.
Can we hijack the other plane with all the booze and fresh cookies?
That sounds great.
And they were baking more cookies when we got off the plane.
Oh, my God.
The people sitting with me, I had the best people sitting beside me ever. They're Canadians. They had been in Germany for a week or so. World of Warcraft geeks. He ran
nice.
a guild for years, and gamers and all this stuff. So we sat there talking and having a really good time, and they were saying, should we just kind of line up at the end before we get off and go, can I have cookie, please? More, please.
Nice. All right, so we're going to go through our checklist and get things ready. We're going to get our plane powered on so that we can punch in our flight plan and everything like that. And no, we're not using Pilot Edge or any real life like ATC. Like you can, there's a thing, and it's like Pilot Edge is like cheap. It's like $5. Yeah, I know, it's serious business
Where are you
here.
finding this stuff? It's God, it's amazing.
Well, this plane. This is actually a payware plane. I posted the other day on Twitter. I have a different relationship with like DLC and expansions than most people, because here it's like this is a plane. This plane, the one plane by itself, $30, a steal at $30 for this one plane, a steal.
Yeah.
This is a really cheap plane for a flight simulator. So yeah, I like expansion costs when people are like, oh, it's $20 for like a CK2 expansion. Like, and
no, no, I'm the same, because I said you'll have somebody who goes down to Tim Hortons and gets a big double this big every day, which is like $5 a shot or something.
Yeah.
They do that on the way to work, and then they get another one on the way home, and then they go to a movie every week, and they do this and they do that, and they go, oh, you pay $15 a month to play a game? Oh my God. Okay, a movie is $15. That's 2 hours. I have played this how many hours?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a freaking deal of a lifetime. I think it's great.
It is, and yeah.
DLC $20. The first evening I played it, I'm done. I've paid for it. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I do have the game listed as Microsoft Flight Simulator X because it seems like most people who stream flight simulators on Twitch just do it under FSX, whether they're doing Prepared 3D or X-Plane or something else. For some reason, that's just the standard because it keeps the community together, I guess. Is the habit.
You supposed to know what all this stuff does?
Yeah, so we'll go through the check. It'd be great if I had properly set things up. I would have had the laptop down here with the checklists on there so you could read things off to me. Do the co-pilot job.
God.
And
we'll
do
have
that.
to work on it this winter.
That would be really
I'm
cool.
back for a while.
We'll serious business it. So yeah, this checklist, which came with the plane, is not there. There's a couple of things that might be missing in it. So we'll have to double check, but we'll leave it over here. So
it's only a short flight. If we have a few parts missing, it'll probably be fine, right?
Exactly. We do have the door open on the outside, so passengers can start getting on board. So that's fine. So they start. And here's the thing: like we're not at a proper gate with the little door.
At least you don't have to take a bus all the way out.
That's true. It is winter time though. The walk from here to there is goddamn cold. And the thing with this plane is the seats are tiny. And it's so much worse in the winter because everyone's got their big winter coats and everything. And that's why I say when you've got, so this is the 400. When you fly on the Dash 100 or 200, which is like much, much, much shorter, they say it's 10 rows. That is a lie. If you look like the specs online, it's got 10 rows of seating. It does not. What it has is 9 rows, okay? And then it has a 10th row. And I always get in there. Seat 10C. 10C is the only seat in row 10. And what it is, it's in between, it's in the aisle in the 9th row.
Oh,
so you got 9th row, and then a seat right in between, that's 10. So the back seat of the plane is basically one bench. You got 5 people in there, and it's narrow. And you're like, like this.
No.
And like,
no way.
And I usually have to put up my arms like this to like keep them in as much as possible because you're just crushed in like that. You get really good friends. The one thing I gotta say with seat 10C though is that you do have all the leg room because you're just up in the
you gotta have
in the alley. In the alley,
it.
yeah.
Oh my
So I
God.
go and do this and go forward.
I came back on this flight, and because they had opened book kind of last minute, they thought that, I don't know why, they thought the flight was full. The flight was almost empty, and I was in the last seat in the back with the flight attendant.
Yeah, I think they thought it was full because originally you were supposed to come in on a 200, but they brought you in on this 400. So I think it was full, and then they switched planes because of the maintenance, and so you got a plane with twice as much seating
So
instead.
they just put me. I was in the last seat back here with the flight attendants on the other side of me, and they didn't have wine.
Oh,
It's like
I know, no wine on that flight.
Lufthansa. It's like, is it Lufthansa or Lufthansa?
I think it's Lufthansa.
Okay, I don't know which it is, but if you blur it really quick, maybe nobody.
Yeah, it's fine. Just sounds German.
But it's there. You manage to get through a bottle by the time you've crossed the Atlantic, and brandy with your coffee.
Of course.
And you come to Air Canada, and they say you can have water, coffee, or tea, or we will sell you booze. It's like, but this was the most expensive leg in the free flight. Oh my God. That 45 minutes back was worse than crossing the Atlantic from Germany. You're doing all the things.
Yeah,
he's doing the checklist.
So we got the batteries on.
That's
we got the engine intakes open. The APU, that's the auxiliary power unit. This is, so like power, we could hook up with external power, but I don't know, maybe over here they do wheel out a little generator at this gate. I don't think they do in Sudbury, I'm not sure. But basically, there's a tiny little extra quasi-engine in the back here to generate power for you before the plane started up, so you don't run your batteries dry.
Okie. You're talking about external power, and don't tell me they plug this little sucker in.
They do, normally.
Oh, God.
Because to start off, they're running all the computers and things, they just don't want to drain the batteries. But they can't have the engines on while people are boarding the plane. They'll just get sucked in.
Yeah.
So they can plug it into a support, or you get your little APU running. So we got that. We checked the screens. They are all on and functional. The one thing, so this plane here, just for people who are interested in following along, this is a FlyJSim Q400 for X-plane. It's not as detailed as the Majestic Q400 for prepared 3D. It's a little simpler, so not everything is enabled. And one of the things, this was originally done for X-plane, I think 10, maybe even 9. The FMS over here, the 3D FMS, is no longer enabled. Instead, what you do is you use the built-in FMS, which honestly is probably more powerful than the built-in one. They are talking about doing an update for this one at some point, so that'll be nice. So they've got a bunch of ideas and changes that they want to do.
So you have to take a course before you can play this game?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of a course.
Jesus.
Circuit breakers checked. They're not actually simulated, but we checked to make sure none of them popped out. And then we put on our position light, and that is, boop. There we go. That is the first flight checklist done. So now we have a little white light in the back here, a little red light, a little green light. Our position lights are all on and ready to go. And sorry, I'm covering up the chat at this point. Maybe I can get it so we can actually see things again.
Yes.
Flew into North Bay once, 15 people on the plane. No 1 hour drive from Sudbury. The thing is, if you fly from Sudbury to North Bay, like you could just drive there in less time. I think it's like an hour and a half. And I mean, the flight's not that long, but it's all the prep. It's all the waiting at the airport and everything.
By the time you've left home and got to the airport and you've done, you've walked through security, and then you've waited, and then you've boarded, and then you've waited, and you've taxied, and you've flown, and you've got.
Yeah.
I can drive there quicker than that.
Well, my last flight to Toronto from Sudbury was delayed 6 hours, which means I could. And
Air Canada.
Air Canada. The weather was really bad. But between that and then the actual flight and everything, I could have driven to Toronto and driven back.
Again.
Yeah. All right, so now we're before start checklist. We're going to make sure that our emergency lights are armed, and they are. Fuel quantity. So we got to check as to what our load is today.
Fuel is good.
Fuel is good.
I like fuel. Fuel sounds good.
let's go and randomize our load a few times. Okay, so here's what we're going to have. We're going to have 57 passengers. They're dressed for winter. See, summer people weigh less. Winter they weigh more.
Of course.
Because you got to put on the carts.
Oh my
or maybe it's because of winter coats and things.
Oh, coats.
And heavier boots.
Oh, I thought it was cookies and beer.
All right, so we got that. Our fuel load, I do have in here a little sample flight in simbrief.com because it helps figure out your fuel. So they want us to have about 6 tons of fuel, 6,000 pounds. And we can see the breakdown over here. They figure the trip will take about 1,800 pounds of fuel. We need enough fuel to get to our alternate if something goes wrong. And our alternate is back to Toronto with this flight.
Yeah.
So we have just as much fuel for the trip back. An extra fuel for a continuous 15 minutes is what I think this means over here.
Okay.
So if you have to circle and wait or do something like that, plus taxi time.
Yeah.
And I think this is the final reserve. So we've got some more of that. Minimum takeoff fuel, this. Oh, here's our taxi amount over here, actually.
Okay, so they've even added that.
Yeah, for the taxi. So they calculate 6,000 fuel. That's how much we legally need for, safety and all those things. So we'll go ahead and load about, there you go, a little over 6,000 pounds of fuel. So there you go. So how many people are in the stream? We've got 568 viewers. So 57 of you are probably going to die today. Alternate plus 1 hour. Thanks, Knight. Here's the thing. I've never failed to do a stream where we do some flights and stuff where we don't have at least one person in the chat who is like a fucking pilot.
Oh, that's
I don't know
amazing.
how this works
That's
out,
nice.
but it's so
really
convenient.
Nice. No kidding.
It's so nice. All right.
Who is the lady friend? I'm the creepy mother-in-law that lives upstairs.
Yeah.
He doesn't have me locked in the attic yet, but yeah.
Well, technically, yes. Your office was the attic, and you turned it into an office.
That's true. He has me locked in the freaking attic.
I really do, yeah.
It's true. I'm the creepy mother-in-law who lives in the attic. Oh my god.
So, I gotta reset this. This still has my last flight in it, which is probably gonna end up being about the same. But we are departing from Charlie Yankee Zulu. CYYZ.
Right.
YYZ, by the way, is that famous Rush song is named YYZ. It's named after the airport.
Is it really?
It is really.
Wow, nice.
So our destination is going to be Charlie Yankee Sierra Bravo. That is the Sudbury Airport. We are going to fly via the Tony waypoint, but I don't believe we have to put it here because I believe that's going to be part of our departure plan. So we are going to be departing. We actually don't know what runway. We're going to have to check that. So let's talk to the ATC. Or the ATIS. I think actually that's already put in. Let's see. Bring up the map. Check the Toronto airport. That's my plane. I want the airport. Thank you. ATIS 133.1. Are we getting some resubs in there?
Good lord.
So there you go.
Lester B. Pearson, INTL information Charlie. 1900 Zulu weather. Wind 070 at 8. Visibility 5. Sky conditions 500 overcast. Temperature 1. 2.0.
It's better than here.
Altimeter 3020. Arriving runway 06 right. Departing runway 05. Advise on initial contact you have Charlie.
All right, we have Charlie. So the winds are fairly light, only 8 knots. It's not too bad. It is overcast and fairly low. We're going to be in the clouds right away. I don't think they're very thick, though. We'll be above the clouds pretty quick. So we got the pressure, the altimeter. We got to set the air pressure so that it can calculate our altitude properly.
Right.
And we're going to be departing on runway
weather.
05. So I'm just going to turn off the ATIS so that it shuts up here and doesn't bother us. So we can expect... so we're going to be using... I don't know if this is supposed to be Mates 5. I keep saying Mateys 5. Because Mates sounds just dumb to me. I don't know. Oh, I guess I got to take a runway first. So we're going to be departing runway 5, it said. And we're going to be using the standard instrument departure of Mateys 5 over here, transitioning through Tony, execute. Okay, so...
You actually need a course to play this game.
I mean, you couldn't just lift off and take off, but I mean,
Yeah,
there's no fun. It's
we
like,
know how well that goes.
yeah, well, taking off's easy.
Landing.
Landing is the hard part. Or sometimes hard landings are just what happened. So our takeoff would be taken off.
I actually had bad dreams about that.
We'd expect vectors from the air traffic controls to direct us a little bit. Most likely it's going to direct us towards the Eichmann waypoint, and then we'll go to Tony after that. And then after that, in terms of Sudbury, sometimes like we'd wait to see like where are we going to be landing or whatever. Sudbury only has a single runway that has ILS, so we're going to know we're going to arrive there. On runway 22, the transition will be Sierra Bravo, and that is it. So if we execute this, check the legs, go to Tony, they'll probably be at discontinuity, because from Tony we're going to fly directly to SB, because we're not using any of the sky highways. See, if we load up...
See, they're asking if you have a pilot's license, but you're on the way to getting one, aren't you?
No.
What's the worst airport you've ever been to? Newark.
Newark. It's the worst.
In the world.
Yeah.
Ever. In all of the world.
See, these are like highways in the
man.
sky. If we were following these, then like it wouldn't have these discontinuities, but we're just going to be flying sort of direct. So we just have to
So we're just winging it. We're going
Winging
north.
it?
No, oh God. Okay, not that accident. We're just heading north. We're just gonna go. We're going up there, Sudbury. It's the only place we're gonna find lights. We'll know where to land.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So, I mean, we've got a bunch of different
Jeez.
instruments to make sure we go directly to Sudbury. The flight managing system is tied into GPS and things, so it does it very easily for us. But we can also tune a variety of radios to be able to sort of sense our way in case for some reason this breaks down. We can still find our way very easily. So we've got our full flight plan put in there. Transition altitude 18,000, that's going to be fine. I don't know, I can't really read these charts very well, so I don't know if there's a way to find out like what the like speed limits in the areas are, and maybe that's something that Knight or one of the other pilots in the thing can help with. I don't know if it says it here. I mean, I don't think so, or...
Unintentional pun. Yeah. Well, just wait. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Newark is awful. Newark is I've never been in and out of Newark on time, and I think that Actually, I think the earliest I've ever managed to leave Newark is about 8 hours after my scheduled flight. Like
terrible.
always. And I've talked to 3 or 4 people who live in the area and whose job requires them to fly in and out of Newark twice a week. And some of these guys have said they've been doing it for years, and they had never left on time, not one single time. It was part of their job. They knew, like the boss knew, the company knew they'd be paying them for X number of hours every single time they fly out, because they knew they weren't leaving on time. It's just part of the budget for the companies, because Newark is, and in every bad thing you've ever seen about people who don't want to help, and help desks who ignore you, or would rather talk about the bar they went to the night before while your flight leaves because they won't serve you yet. They've all happened to me in Newark, only there. I've never, like, flying is, I find airports and airport staff to be kind of wonderful people, quite frankly, but not so much in Newark. It's really bad.
All right, we got our flight plan registered here.
Okay.
So we can wait on that. We'll have the taxi information at that point. We're all loaded in here, and yeah, I know that that's what this is, the 250. I just don't know how to read the air charts to see if there's different speed limits in the area where we are. But we'll assume we're only breaking 17 different laws simultaneously. All right. We'll also assume our passengers are loaded, much like the pilots. Hey-o!
The passengers are loaded and the pilot's like totally loaded too.
All right.
It's fine.
So if everyone is aboard, then we can close the door.
Oh God.
So we'll just go here, close the door. There it goes.
Oh, look there, it's folding up.
And
doing
I
the thing.
believe that the flight crew, I don't know if this applies to the pilots the same way, but like the stewards and whatnot
Yeah.
on the plane, flight attendants, that's the name.
Flight attendants.
I don't think they start getting paid until the door is closed. It's like this old thing. It like dates back to like
What?
train times. Yeah. I think they only get paid from
so they're
like door
on here
closed to door
doing all
open.
things, dealing with all the people, putting all the things
Yeah.
away, hauling luggage around, and they're not getting paid yet. Hopefully they get paid really well the rest of the time. My God.
I like this advice from Butch. The ground speed limit is listed on the flange chart. Remember to spool the shimway, and it'll bleep you.
What?
I think that might have been made up. He's just talking jive. That's what's happening.
Oh my God. So what country, what language was this? It sounded a lot like English, but obviously not quite the same.
So, engine start. Oh, we do have a few more things. We need to figure out our takeoff speed and trims. So one of the things, and I don't know if we had the real flight management system in here, is based on our center of gravity, which, whoa, is way off one side. Have you ever been on a flight where they move people around?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's sort of
Yeah.
our situation. We've got like too much weight in the back, I think. So we'd be like, listen, buddy, I would really like it if you could move up to the front, and you as well. I mean, I know you were sitting next to your kid, but we're going to move you up to the front. Try to center up the weight a wee bit. Amazing how much of a difference it makes. But you based on
Oh my
this,
goodness,
you
look
would
at that.
set your, oops, what was this? You would set your initial trim right here. But I'm just going to put it in the middle of the takeoff trim. Might be easier to see from this view here.
And hope that that's good.
Yeah, let's just eyeball it. It's not rocket science. It's gonna be fine. So there's that. We need to get our V speeds locked in here.
Is that your daughter? I will buy, wherever you live, if I'm ever there, I buy you beer, okay?
So what's the weight of our plane
You're
here? 57.6. So if we go over here, and they've got some pre-calculations for us. So we're 57.2 would be over right there. Right? Yeah, it cuts off our... So our V1 and V rotate, we're going to take off at 5 flaps, so we're going to do 129 knots. So this is going to put little indicators on our little